Welcome back to my channel. Today we're painting some herbs in watercolor. And if you're new, hello, my name is Nisha and I teach watercolor and illustration tutorials. So grab your supplies and let's get started. Okay, the first one for this set is oregano, or you can say oregano. I think both are used. We'll start with a little brownish green paint and put in the stem first. And for this one, we are going to use some smaller round shapes for the leaves. You can also refer to the Pinterest board and have a reference image on hand. It's linked below in the description. So continue up the stem and put in small circular leaves. You can have a variety of sizes. Maybe some that are smaller, those are the new growth ones, and a few a little bit larger. And if you make your leaves a little bit more narrow, so they look almost like squished and a little bit more flat, that will give the impression of a turned leaf, so maybe it's at a different angle. So play around with different flat, fuller leaves and some more narrow so that you can get a variety of angles. With a darker green, go in and add some color into that stem and at the base of each of these leaves. Doing this while it's still wet will give you a natural blending effect. That's wet on wet technique. Okay, and then with a little more yellow-green, going in and adding some more color. And just a quick reminder, remember to hit that subscribe button on my channel so you never miss a brand new video. And then with a clean rinsed brush, you can go in and blend out any of the harsh edges and soften up those lines. Okay, so while that dries, we'll move to the second herb. This is tarragon. And we'll start with that center stem and using some of that yellowish green paint, put in long, narrow leaves. To make these leaves, you'll start with a light touch on one end, and as you pull your brush across the paper, push down slightly with pressure, and then lift up again at the other end to get a point. And also remember, you can refer to that Pinterest board for reference images. Some of these leaves can overlap each other, and just remember that if you do that while they're wet, some of that color will blend through. So if you want to wait as they dry, you can go in with another layer and add leaves on top. If you get any harsh lines drying from this paint, you can go in while it's damp and still blend out some of those edges. Okay, so we'll let that dry and then we'll go back in and add some details into the oregano. Okay, so with a brownish green, we can go in and add some more details into the stem and the vein lines on the leaves. And then a few thinner light lines coming from that center vein line. And then as that dries, we'll move on to the other details. Okay, so I've got a little bit more of a blue-green. And now that the tarragon has dried, I'll go in and I can add in some more shadows. So along the stem and under some of the leaves. And remember to put the shadows on the leaves that are in the background and the ones that are underneath the top leaves. Okay, with a rinsed brush, go in and soften out any of these edges and blend any areas. All right, so then we'll let this dry and move on to our third herb. This one is painting parsley. We'll start with a slightly yellowy green. So we'll start with a center stem and have a few more branching off. Parsley leaves have a rougher outer edge, so they're almost feathered, and so I'm using short strokes to build these leaves and their shape. You can always pull up that Pinterest board and have a reference image on hand. Because these leaves are flat and wider, you'll see that they do bend and curve a bit more. So I have a little bit more of an angle on the end pieces. Okay, now that your lighter layer is done, you can go in and add a darker green into some of the stems and shadow areas. Okay, and then with a rinsed clean brush, go in and soften out any of those lines that you want. Okay, so I'm going in with a darker layer of color and saturation. This is a yellow-green, and then I'll add that to the leaves and some of the stem. And then with the bluish green, going in and adding some darker areas along the stem and adding some more details. So go through and add in any of your final touches. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you had so much fun painting. Also, be sure to check the description below. I run a free watercolor challenge every season. So if you want more tutorials and painting fun, join me there. I'll see you in the next video.